Hello Cloud Builders, and welcome to the second video in our 4-part series on open source security tools for AWS. In this video, we'll be showing you a tool called Policy Sentry. This tool allows you to create least privilege policies for identity and access management. Let's get started. So in this video, we're looking at a tool called Policy Sentry, which comes from Salesforce. This is an open source tool that allows you to generate least privileged identity and access management policies for accessing your AWS resources. Now, of course, a great security best practice is to make sure that you use least privilege when you're defining your identity and access management policies. So this is a really useful tool that makes it simple for you to define which resources need which actions, allow which actions taken against them. So the tool provides you with a very simple overview, a very simple template format where you can update these templates and give resources specific high-level permissions such as read and write, and it will generate the least privileged IAM policies with the right IAM actions for you. So again, really great repository in terms of documentation. Tons and tons of documentation, tons of reasoning behind why this project it has been developed in the documentation here. So really strong documentation, lots of examples here. Policy Sentry also has a read the docs page that you can access, so you can get really in-depth instructions on how to get started with Policy Sentry as a tool. Today we're going to take you into the console and give you a very brief overview of the core functionality of Policy Sentry and how you can very quickly and easily create least privilege IAM policies. So we're here now in the console, and first thing we need to do is we need to install Policy Sentry. So it's provided as a pip library. You can also install using Homebrew if you're using Mac OS as well. And we're just going to install the pip library here for Policy Sentry. So this just take a few seconds. Policy Sentry is here, and we now are able to run the command. We can see that we get our run the command, and you will see that we are able to execute the Policy Sentry tool. First thing we're going to do is we're going to use the create template command. What this will do is create a YAML, a formatted template for us, where we can then start to add our resource identifiers, our ARNs of our resources, so that the tool can then go ahead and write a policy for us. So before we can write a policy, we need to create a template. So what we'll do is we'll run the command Policy Sentry create template. And we need to provide an output file. This is the file that we want to create. We'll call it crud.yaml. And then we can provide a template type. We're going to use the Crud template type. So you'll see what this looks like in a second, but this is a template that gives us some very simple sections where we can put our different resources in where we want to give high-level permissions to. So you can see there we've created this file here, crud.yaml. And if we head over to our code editor, we'll be able to take a look at that file and see what it looks like. So you can see the file here, and it's probably making a bit more sense to you now, but you can basically see these high-level create, read, update, delete style headings that you can associate specific resource arms to. So what we see here is a read, write, list, which resources are we able to tag and which resources we're able to do permissions management on. And then down here we have these service-wide actions where you can do service read or service write at a whole service level. So if you want to be able to do read all of EC2, for example, read only, you can just throw EC2 in here, and Policy Sentry will take care of creating the right policy for you with just those read permissions to EC2 at the whole service level. So I'm going to add some resource arms in here. I have a couple of made up arms here. These are example arms, but these are for secrets manager secrets. So we want to be able to read, bit of a format issue there. We want to be able to read the this ARN, this specific secret. We want to be able to take read operations on this secret. We want to be able to do write operations. So we'll do on another secret. Let's call this my other secret. So this is a completely different ARN referencing a completely different resource. And then we want to be able to tag our original secret as well. So we want to be able to tag our secret as well. And then down here at service level, we want to be able to do read on EC2. So from a developer perspective here, we're now just looking at which resources do we need which high-level actions on. Under the hood here, there's tons of actions that may need to be taken in AWS that we need to configure in our IAM policy to read a secret or to have write permissions on that specific secret. There may be more than one action that takes place. Specifically, when you look at service-wide, when it comes to understanding what all the IAM actions are that are required to have read access across the whole EC2 service, this is quite complicated to identify. So Policy Sentry takes care of a lot of the work here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to save this file, and we'll head back over here to our console, and then we'll run a Policy Sentry. Now we're going to write a policy. So we're going to do Policy Sentry, write policy, and this time we provide an input file. We're going to provide that same crud.yaml file that we just created. So when we do that, what we see is we're given an IAM policy. This is great. We've just provided a very high-level construct of which resources in AWS we want high-level actions to: read, write, list, tag. And what we have here is now we've been given a least privilege IAM policy. You can see there's tons and tons of actions here. These are our EC2 describe and get actions that give us read access to the EC2 service. These are also all resources that these actions apply to. You can see here as well, we have the ability to read this specific secret, my secret. Again, 4 different actions there that you would have had to been aware of to create that least privilege policy, but Policy Sentry took care of that for you. My other secret down here, I'm able to write to that secret, and you can see there's tons of different mutating actions or mutating API calls that I need permissions for in IAM. So there's really fine-grained access control, which is great. Policy Sentry takes care of identifying these for me and creating this least privilege policy with these 7 or so actions in here to enable me to write that secret. And then again, tag and untag, two actions down here on our secret to allow us to tag this secret and this secret only. So from taking this very simple file here with some very high-level sections where we can start to put our AWS resources in, and we can provide multiple ARNs here across multiple different services, and we can get some pretty complex IAM policies here at the back of Policy Sentry. Policy Sentry has been able to give us a least privilege policy, and we now know comfortably that our policy is only giving us the permissions that we require, whether that be read only, write only, to the resources that we need. So Policy Sentry, a tool from Salesforce. On GitHub here, it's available. It's an open source tool. It's available at Salesforce/Policy Sentry, and the link to the repo will be available in the description of the video below. And really, really great tool. I'd encourage you to look at it if you're struggling with IAM. I know it's specifically for new users to AWS. It's something that's reasonably difficult to get your head around. Policy Sentry will make it easy for you to define your policies, and then you can still dive deep into the output to learn about IAM and see what actions and resources are required to access your AWS resources. So thanks for tuning in and watching this video on our series on open source security for AWS. If you like the content here, please like and subscribe, because there'll be plenty more technical content coming on the channel moving forwards.